Side Hustle Show 32.
Welcome to the Side Hustle Show, where aspiring part-time entrepreneurs learn how to turn their side hustle dreams into reality. Because your 9 to 5 may make you a living, but your 5 to 9 makes you alive. And now, your host, Nick Loper.
Hey everybody, Nick Loper here. Welcome to the Side Hustle Show. This is episode 32, How to Build a High-Value Membership Site for Recurring Revenue. I'm joined by Jonathan Milligan from bloggingyourpassion.com. And he's an expert on this stuff, so we're going to dig into it with him. Now, this is the country club theory that's been around for centuries in one form or another, right? Like, membership has some exclusivity and some special perks that non-members just don't get. I mean, you see it with REI, you see it with American Express. Except in the online world, you get to run the country club. You get to be in charge, and so it's super cool. One quick shout for a new 5-star iTunes review. This one really made my day. It's from Imua Guy, one of the best already. He says, just at the half-year mark, this is one of the best business podcasts out there, and I look forward to seeing what develops. I have no idea who this is, but if it's you, Imua Guy, send me a note, let me buy you a beer or something. Like I said, it made my day, and I look forward to seeing how it develops too. Speaking of, New Media Expo is coming up the first weekend in January. Are you going to be there? It's my first time. I've heard nothing but good things, and I'm eager to meet up with any current or former new media side hustlers. But that's enough rambling. Let's get into the show with Jonathan. Thanks. Jonathan, welcome to the Side Hustle Show.
Hey, Nick. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Jonathan Milligan is an author, blogger, speaker, and host of the Simple Life Habits podcast. As a career coach, he spent the last decade counseling, guiding, and directing career professionals on how to pursue meaningful work, which is perfect for Side Hustle Nation because, just like the intro guy says, your 5 to 9 makes you alive. Since 2009, Jonathan has been building a profitable, portable lifestyle business through blogging. So really excited to have him on the show and learn all about his experience in building up the membership site, Blogging Your Passion University. So before we get into it, let's kind of talk about kind of the big picture, why membership sites have value. Obviously, from the owner's perspective, it's like, okay, a recurring revenue stream. Awesome. Mm-hmm. But they also have value for the members. And I wanted to get your opinion and see if you could touch on that to start us off.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously for the owner, it's going to provide that financial stability like you talked about. I think it's important, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, that you have a clear strategy for how you're going to manage that, because I've seen people who have become overwhelmed with membership sites, and I intentionally set off from the beginning that was not going to happen to me. But from the participant side of things, it's an opportunity for them to be mentored. Like I'll hold like a monthly office hours, allow them to come, and we'll just open it up and answer questions. And it's great for me too, because I learn where the struggles and challenges are. Those are where the products are. The future products that you can create is solving problems for people. So that's great for both sides, but good for the participant. And also, I think if you're leading any kind of tribe, what's more important is not you as the leader, but you connecting other people in a community where they can get to know one another is incredibly powerful. So it's almost like you step aside, you step out of the way, and you allow people to interact with one another. And that was the thing I did not think about that really came to light as I was forming this idea of a membership site. So I would say that, obviously, helping them overcome obstacles quickly. If you got a forum, people jump in and they help. They can be an encouragement. So it's much more of an ongoing deal, as opposed to, you just buy this one course and you read this one book or this PDF, and you're kind of left to figure things out along the way.
Okay. Yeah, there's some ongoing commitment that we'll get into a little bit later. But I wanted to start. So say, for example, I want to create, Side Hustle Nation as a membership component behind a login or behind a paywall. Mm-hmm. What are kind of the critical ingredients that you see for somebody to get started down this road?
Okay, that's a great question. And this was something I wrestled with in the beginning. And so, if I was talking with you and we're talking about Hustle Nation, what I would say my first critical ingredient would be to keep it lean. It is incredibly easy for a membership site or a membership idea to spiderweb out of your control. And I've seen people who literally have spent like over a year trying to build a membership site. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you're going to work on this for a year only to find out that nobody really wants what you're creating. That's like what you don't want to do.
Okay.
And so you want to keep it and just keep reminding yourself that the simplest solution is usually the best solution and that you can always improve it along the way. And it's scary for us because we oftentimes want to have everything figured out. And a lot of times our perfectionist tendencies can get in the way. But it's important that you keep it lean. And so what I did was I decided that I was going to set a private beta launch date within 30 days once I decided I was going to do this. That was going to force me to move forward regardless. Now, there's a few things you can do. You could include some content. Maybe you've already created some courses or you created something. You could add that into your site. You could also, in a good way, in an easy way, repackage some of the free content. Now, you don't want to fill up your site and nothing but free content. That's not a good strategy. But for a quick example, I had created a lot of YouTube videos on answering simple questions. I put those under one category in the membership site, embedded all those videos. It didn't take long at all, and called it your answers vault. And so they could search in the membership site and get quick answers. They didn't have to go over to YouTube, or I repackaged it in a way to keep it in there. So those are the things that I think are some of the critical ingredients. And the other one is to kind of have upfront a clear content delivery strategy. Like for me, it's every Wednesday, there's a new piece of content that's going to come out. And we can talk about this in a little bit more, but that helped me to know. And then once a week, I'm sending out an email, letting them know what's coming up, what we've created, and that sort of thing. So those are some of the critical ingredients. I mean, we can dig into that a little bit more if you'd like, but keeping it lean and setting that private launch date. And for me, it was, I'm going to invite 50 people to come join me on this, sell the vision for it, and get them to help me create and build out this site.
Okay.
So that I'm not doing it myself.
Now, when you opened up that private beta to those first 50 people, how many people were reading your blog? How many people were on your mailing list at that time? Just trying to get a gauge for the numbers and kind of the math to, sure, where there's a critical mass to get started with this.
So what I did is I targeted a very specific list personally. This is what I did because I wanted to do this in a private beta way and not put myself out there, kind of minimize the failing points a little bit. I wasn't afraid to fail, but I didn't want to just totally frustrate and move everything over to this one model. And so what I did is I just targeted people in the last several months who had purchased one of my courses. And I think the list that I use, I segmented my list. If I remember right, there's about 671 customers who I knew had purchased something from me. And I don't remember if it was in the last 6 months or that was the last. I don't remember the specific dates, but these were people who had purchased something from me.
Okay.
Specifically on the blogging site.
So they're proven customers. They've shown their willingness to open up the wallet.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So that's who I targeted. And what I did was I did a Google Hangout. I invited them to come. And then I probably had maybe 6 or 8 people, but it was great because we were on the camera. I was, finding out what were their struggles, their challenges, that sort of thing. And then I did a webinar and invited that group to come join me on a webinar talking about what some of my ideas were for this. And then I just sent an email out and said, I'm opening the doors for 50 members. Come join us. And yeah, it probably filled up, I think, within 48 hours.
Wow, that's awesome. Was it free for those first 50 members or was there a price tag attached?
No, I did. I charged $20 a month for them.
Okay.
And what's funny is I actually had a few of them on the webinar. They loved the idea so much. They said, can we just pay for a yearly? And I hadn't even thought that route. So I had about 3 or 4 people that just paid up front. Now I was a little bit nervous on that
You're
because,
committing yourself to creating all this
yeah,
content.
I was committing to 30 days.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I was committing longer than that, but I was keeping it lean like I was talking about before. But anyway, yeah. So that's kind of how that got rolled out and got started.
Well, that's nice for cash flow. Did you give them a price break for buying off the year in advance?
Yeah, I did. I think I gave them either 1 or 2 months free,
Okay.
and just yeah.
No, that's great. And so you've got the 50 members in kind of in the gate, and then what happens? So you see now we're facilitating. So you're still producing content for them, and they've got access to kind of all the behind the scenes stuff. But you said one of the main things was kind of facilitating the interaction amongst the tribe
Yes.
in those connections. So how does that? How do you encourage that, or what technology you're using to make that happen behind the login page?
Yeah, so the idea that I had behind this was that I wanted to guide the momentum. And by that, I mean, I wanted to, okay, these first 50 people, they wanted to be a part of this. I wanted them to feel like they were really a part of something and that we're doing this together and you're a part of this. Make them feel like they're in the inner circle.
Right.
I mean, I even sent out, I put a little app on my MacBook Air and did a little recording and sent an email with a recording, an audio recording, me saying their name, thanking them for being a part of this. And it's like, I got the best feedback from that. And it's just like, I wanted to try to provide the wow factor for them from the very beginning.
Uh-huh.
And so that was the first step. The second step was that I did what I called charter member assignments. And so about once a week, I would send an email to this group, and I would tell them a specific action I wanted them to take. And all this was directed towards the forum that I had inside. Because, one of the hardest things is getting something like that started. The first person that goes to the forum is going to be like, oh, this is dead. There's nothing here.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like 100 people do that and the same thing. It's like, well, we've got activity, just no one's taking the initiative here. And so I decided I was going to use charter member assignments, and I used it kind of in a James Bond theme, kind of had a little fun with it. It said, charter member assignment 001,
Okay.
click this link, go and introduce yourself and let people know where your blog is. And so like instantly I probably got 30, 35 of the 50 members to go do that. And so they started, replying to each other's introduction. Oh, I blog about the same thing. And so that kind of helped got things jump started. And then so once a week I'd follow up with a different one. Here's charter member assignment 002. Go over here and share your Facebook fan page or share your latest blog post. So, people in the community can go and comment, because one thing that new bloggers struggle with is getting blog comments. And so I use these strategically, some of these charter member assignments to kind of get them focused in one area to kind of build it out. So over time, after we did 15 or 20 of those strategically all over the forum, it created a little bit more of a buzz.
Okay. Super, super smart. Yeah. Because you hate to it's like waiting to get in for the club. You got to, tip the bouncer, and then you get in and it's empty. You're like, what do we wait in line for? So that's really, really good to, kind of, stir up that engagement right from the very beginning with these people who are most excited about it. And I guess I'm really bad at math. I was just doing the math. 50 people times $20 a month. You've got $1,000 a month side hustle right out of the gate, which is
exactly
amazing.
Within 30 days, and not having to put a whole lot into it just yet. These people already understand up front that we're building this site out. We're gonna tailor it around what you need. And they love that if you lead them well.
Definitely. And so you mentioned the forum. Is there a specific software or something like that? That sounds intimidating to program a forum.
Yeah, so I landed on Kajabi, which is spelled Kajabai. Is that right? No, Kajabi.
Okay.
Kind of a weird name, but there's a free 30 days. So when I launched it without paying anything. So it was like I launched it, they gave me the $1,000, and then when the 30-day hit, I think the lowest package is $100 a month. I just factored that in. I just said, 5 members are going to pay for the software, and
And
that,
everything else is gravy. Okay.
yeah, exactly. So that allowed me, those 30 days allowed me, which also, the other good thing is that kind of pushed me to get things up and rolling, because like this might find this funny, but I actually got my first members to pay me when they joined, and like 3 days later is when I had the first $100 hit. So even though I completely could pay for that $100 hit, it's like I was pushed and forced to have my members help pay for that up front.
Right. No, I like that. Okay, so the 50 people are kind of, in the party and they're in their love and life, they're making connections and stuff. What's to keep them from taking the party outside of the gate?
Yeah. So I think for me, it was about constantly trying to figure out how to do everything inside of Kajabi. And like you were asking earlier about the forum, you can turn on or turn off a forum inside of Kajabi, and it gives you the ability to, you can put your header up there, you can create your colors and all that, your categories for your training videos, things like that. But what I decided to do is that, at least for me for this, is I did not want to, at least at this point, I still haven't tried to create like a Google Plus community for this group of people, or a private Facebook fan page for this community. I really just wanted to keep the party inside. And so an example of this is like when I do live video hangouts with them, I use Google Hangouts and I just embed that into a post on Kajabi, send an email out, let them know where it's, the party's happening. They have to log in to get there. And then I use a software called Chatroll that I embed right below the video. And so they can chat with me. They can see me on the screen. I can screen share. I'm there, but it's all, this is happening right inside the software.
Okay, so it's not, like you said, not you opening up the private Facebook page, or kind of where you're encouraging engagement on other third-party platforms. You kind of want to control that, you control the conversation and stuff.
Yeah, because otherwise, I have to think about, okay, so if someone decides to cancel, now I've got to go over to that Facebook fan page, the private one, and I got to find that person and kick them out. And it's just, for me, I've just tried to, again, go back to that simple strategy and just say, how can I keep everything right here into this community?
Okay. Now, is the Kajabi software running the membership access and login stuff too, or is there different software for that?
No, yeah, it totally runs all of it. So, and currently I'm just using PayPal. I think I may eventually switch to another one. There's a couple I'm looking at, because I did run into, when I did my most recent launch, I ran into several people that didn't want to use PayPal. They wanted to use their own credit card. And a tricky thing with PayPal, most people don't know, is that they don't allow you to pay by your own credit card for the recurring aspect of selling. I didn't know that until I jumped into it. Now they do allow you to use your own credit card for, one-off products that you're selling.
Oh, okay.
But the reoccurring part, they only want you to have a PayPal account. So that, I kind of ran into a few bumps there. But that being said, Kajabi actually works with all kinds of payment providers, and it's hooked in a way that if someone cancels their payment or they decide to cancel, it automatically will shut down access for them to be able to get into the membership site. So you're not having to worry about that as well.
Okay. Now let's talk about growing it beyond this initial 50, because there's some value in the intimacy and having a small tribe, but eventually you want to grow this thing, right? So what was your next step?
So my next step was, I said, okay, well, that kind of worked according to plan. Sometimes it doesn't always work according to plan.
You're like, this one worked well.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm doing 50 members. I want to fill it up in a weekend. But then honestly, this, you don't know, you think you've got a good idea. You open the door and you wonder if you're going to get 10 members. I mean, you really don't know. You just have to keep experimenting and trying things. And so I figured that since this worked well, and because I actually, and this was painful for me to do, but I actually did close the doors down, and, I was having people email me, hey, I missed out, or, that sort of thing. And it was like, okay, well, I said 50 members, so the scarcity thing is not just a marketing ploy, but it's a real thing here. And so I collected names for a waiting list. And so I thought, I'm going to keep collecting that. And so because you're going to have people fall on that sales page later after you've closed it down. And when they scroll down to the bottom, instead of an order button, they've got to, join the waiting list next time we open the door sort of thing. So I'd say about 30 days, I think it was about 30 days later, I decided to just rinse and repeat.
Okay.
And I literally did the same steps. I think I may have opened it up to more people on my email list at that point. But what I did, I strategically got some testimonials from some people that were in the site so that I could use those on my sales page and build it up a little bit more. And then I targeted and said, hey, we're having fun. There's 50 members. You're on the outside, we're on the inside in a nice way. We'd love to have you be on the inside. And so we're going to open the doors for 50 more members. Once we hit that, we're going to close it down. And then I think I sent another email about 48 hours later and said, we've got 9 spots remaining. And they jumped on it, and we added 50 more members probably in about the same time frame, maybe 2 days.
And this is still from an email list you said was 700 or 800 strong?
Yeah, well, I think I may have opened it up a little bit larger.
But paying customers.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, I think I still had not gone to the larger email list that I had the ability to send out to.
Okay. So is there such thing as getting too big? Like, is there such thing as having too many members or the wrong kind of members in here?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's, and I'm not saying this is a wrong strategy, but I think that's why up to this point I haven't done a, $1 30-day free trial. Try to avoid some of the tire kickers, people that are going to come in there and, make comments that you don't like or say things in the forum that are hurtful or discouraging to the vision of what you're trying to do. I mean, luckily I've had like zero bit of that, and I'm thankful for that. But, I think that's the potential that you could have if people are getting in there for $1. There's really no commitment. And
yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like with a public forum, you're spending all your time moderating spam, trolls, and everything.
Yeah, you do. And like for me with this forum, I have yet, and I've been running it now since May, and this is December. I've yet to have to delete a forum post or have anybody that's been obstinate or anything.
Okay. All right. So we're up to 100 members now, $2,000 a month, outstanding. And have you grown it beyond that level too?
Yeah. So what I did is in the fall, I think around October, I decided that I was going to do a public launch, but it was going to be like a limited time. So I narrowed it down to 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I said, I'm just going to advertise this for 2 weeks. I'm going to let as many members that want to get in, and let's see what happens.
What was the feedback from the existing members at that time?
Yeah, so I actually did a survey before I decided to do that 2-week launch. I did a survey with that group, and it was very specific to feedback. And I did this strategically all along the way, even though we didn't have gotten into it. With the kind of content they wanted to see, I let them vote on it. I let, here's the things I'm thinking about, content I'm thinking about creating for you guys based on your original survey of things that you're looking for, and let them kind of vote on it. And that's kind of what guided the content that we created on a regular basis. But back to your question, before I opened the doors, I did specific feedback on what do you like the most about our community? What do you like the least? What's a couple ideas that can make this thing even better? And I had probably about 2 or 3 other questions beyond that. And so that was really helpful for me to know what was working, what wasn't working so well, to help kind of guide things a bit.
Okay. So they weren't like, hey, we like it the way it is, or, the more the merrier, something like that. But
well, what I did, and this is important, what you just brought up is, for the owner, opening the doors and adding more people is what you want. If you're a participant, you're kind of liking this little exclusive community where you're getting to know people, and you got this so-called expert that's available and it's
Hmm.
there for you. And so what I had to do is strategically had to kind of sell the vision of why this was going to be good for them to add more people. And so that particular month I was going to do the launch, I did a shared spreadsheet for just the community called a blog promotion tool. And the idea was that you go put your latest blog post on there, and then everybody in the community is going to go and comment on your blog to get some social proof, show some activity on your blog, that sort of thing.
Okay, wow.
And so I kind of directly tied in, hey, people are going to come in here. And I said, they're going to get the charter member assignments. They're going to see that. You're going to get more likes for your Facebook fan page. You're going to get more followers for Twitter. You're going to get more blog comments. So I had to sell it on how it was going to benefit them, for them to be excited about new people.
Gotcha. Yeah, instead of diluting the value, you're getting something from it too. No, I really like that. And I think it's super smart to kind of it's kind of like crowdfunding in a way, where these members are kind of crowdfunding your content creation, and they're directing through their surveys, like what kind of content they want you to create. So I think it's super, super smart.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And like, for example, the thing that popped up on the list first when we first started it was time management. They were drowning in the fact that they had this blog that they wanted to get off the ground, but they're working full time. They got family. How do you do all this? And so I just recorded a couple videos, and I did some office hours answering questions, and showed them exactly how I do it. And I just opened the doors, shared with them everything behind the scenes. This is how I tackle projects. This is how I write my blog posts. This is how I do this, this, this. And so it's like I just immediately tackled the thing that was the biggest struggle for people.
Right. So this is definitely is recurring revenue, but I definitely wouldn't call it passive income, since you've got some commitment to continuing to produce great content for for the members. So what kind of, in terms of maybe hours per week, or of your time, like how much are you putting into this on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, so typically what I'll do is I'll release some type of new content on Wednesdays. That's just kind of the day that works for me. It's the middle of the week, and I'll either be producing a training video, or I'll do a live Google Hangout training that automatically becomes a recording for the members, or I'll typically do like an office hours where we'll jump in there. Maybe it starts with the topic or the theme for that month. I'll answer questions live, and maybe I have to screen share, show them how to do something, and then I'll take like general questions related to our topic, which is blogging. But this membership site doesn't have to be about blogging or online business. It can be about anything.
Okay.
But typically that'll be the time commitment for me on a Wednesday. Now, sometimes I can do the recording on another day and just have it scheduled to release on a Wednesday. So I'm not always locked in live. So that's nice. I mean, I've had videos released before, and I've been out of town on vacation with my family.
Gotcha.
So you can do some things to leverage some of your time. But that would be one area. The other area is I really believe in being active in your forum. If I think that's the biggest feedback I got from the user so far is they've joined these other communities and they never see the owner in the forum. And that is like a big withdrawal, a big disconnect. They don't feel cared for. They don't feel like they've got a connection. And so I wanted to be in that forum. I wanted to be. So every night, like when I got TV on or something, I'll jump into the forum, see what's the latest conversations happening, answer a few questions, and get back out. But I enjoy that aspect of it, so it's just something I do every night.
Right. That doesn't seem like work. That's just like, chatting with
it's
with
fun.
friends. And
Yeah,
stuff.
sharing and adding value and answering questions for people. It's fun.
Very cool. So how many members are you up to now?
Right now, I think I am somewhere around 151.
Okay.
So that public launch I did, I wanted to add 100 members, and I did half of what I wanted to do. And part of that, honestly, is as entrepreneurs, we can sometimes get jaded, and we can think that if we open it, they will come.
Okay.
And I figured, man, open the door for 48 hours, filled 50 members up, open it at 48 more and 50 more members. Man, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Let's
the
multiply that
floodgates are going
out.
to be,
Yeah, and you can't always assume that, and that's something I've learned, and I'm going to open the doors again in January, and I've learned from it. Um, there's some things that I would do differently, like for example, those 51 odd members that I did add. I think I added 30 of them on the very last day of that 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Because it's like, oh, time is running out. It's that
Yeah,
scarcity thing. Okay.
yeah. It's, hey, the day the doors are closing, last time to get in. And so it's like that clues me in on the fact that scarcity, when used, not used as a marketing ploy, but when used in a very real strategic way, really kind of pushes people to make a decision.
Right. And this is kind of like the last question I have, like what kind of turnover do you see on a monthly basis? Like, what percentage of people are sticking around versus saying, this isn't for me?
I recently just started looking at that, and my strength is not so much in numbers. I recently reached out to somebody who's really good with numbers. What's nice about the Kajabi software is it allows you to export your members in a spreadsheet, and you can see when they joined and when they cut off, and
Okay.
and that sort of thing. I actually still have a good bit of members from the very, very beginning. So I would say that if I had to guess, I would say it's hard to tell because we're still only since May here. But I would say average length of stay is probably 5 to 6 months, maybe at this point.
Okay. No, that's outstanding. Well, because once you know that that expected lifetime value, because then you can just start doing marketing too, like to find more people who might be a good fit. Like, oh, okay,
yes.
If it costs me less to acquire this customer, then that's a win.
Yeah, and that's why I'm leaning on this friend of mine who's really good at this stuff, because I think he can help me kind of nail that down. That's an area that I'm not very strong in. I'm great with ideas and creativity and relationships, not so good with the number thing.
Yeah, no, but that's really cool. That's really cool. Jonathan, thanks so much for taking the time to share. I don't think I'm quite ready to open up a Side Hustle Nation membership site, but you definitely got the wheels turning in my head for when that time, if and when that time does come. We'll wrap up with your number one tip for Side Hustle Nation.
All right, my number one tip is be a scientist. That's my favorite thing I'm saying these days. Because scientists don't fail, they experiment. Be willing to get out there and experiment and just be a scientist.
I love it. I love it. Thanks so much. Hey, everybody, check Jonathan out at jonathanmilligan.com and also bloggingyourpassion.com. Both excellent resources and definitely in my reader whenever there's a new post. Wow, did Jonathan bring the goods or what in this interview? Man, tons of valuable stuff. I loved every minute of it. I think I loved his last bit about being a scientist, because that's something I've talked about before, on viewing life as an experiment and viewing your side hustle projects as an experiment. In that case, you don't necessarily fail. You just learn from an experiment that didn't go the way you thought it would, and you kind of dust yourself off and try again next time. That's it for the show, and that's it for this year on the Side Hustle Show. I hope Santa is good to you and your family this Christmas, and you're able to take some time off, both to reflect on 2013 and also do some planning and get energized for 2014. Now, if you want to get something for your humble podcast host, the best Christmas present is a 5-star iTunes review. If you haven't done that already, it's sidehustlenation.com/iTunes. And if you're heading to New Media Expo in Vegas the first weekend in January, definitely let me know. Would love to meet up and say hi. Grab all the show notes for this episode with Jonathan at sidehustlenation.com/30. Sorry, sidehustlenation.com/episode 32. Thanks so much for listening. It means the world to me. I hope you had an awesome year, and I hope 2014 is even better. I'll be back in your earbuds in a couple weeks with even more awesome side hustle stories and strategies. Until next year, go out there and make something happen. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to The Side Hustle Show at www.sidehustlenation.com.